Okay, good morning everyone. Shalom Aleichem, Bruchim Abam. Yesterday we discussed what I thought was an amazing topic about injecting an insertion between brachas. The Mechaber Shita is, as long as you don't start the next bracha, you could always inject an insertion. So let's say you said Baruch Atah Hashem Mechayeh HaMesim, you'd be able to say Masha Baruch Maragashim, and then you go on to Ata Kadosh V'Shemcha Kadosh. The Mishnah Berurah brought that even though the Mechaber Shita is you could inject these insertions, and that would apply to Yalav Yavai, Shachris and Mincha. For something she'ein machzir noisai, for example, Havdalah and Chonin Hadas, Yalav Yavai by Mariv, Al Nisim Chanukah Purim. So then, once you finish the bracha, you're considered finished, and you can't stick it in. The Mishnah Berurah brought that there are those who argue on this whole din, and they say as soon as you finish the bracha, then the bracha is over, and you can inject. Therefore, the Mishnah Berurah said, Lamaisa, if you remembered after you said Hashem, you should not complete Mechayeh HaMesim, but rather, because once you do, some poskim would say you're one and done. Say Lamdeni Chukecha, and then go back and stick it in. Now, the Bir Halacha's conclusion was that the Marshal argues on this whole din, that you could stick in insertions at the end of a bracha. The Mishnah Berurah says that to go against the Shulchan Aruch is very difficult. Many Achronim agree to him. But nevertheless, after you say Baruch Atah Hashem, say Lamdeni Chukecha, and then go back. The same thing with Yalav Yavai. If you forgot it after you said Baruch Atah Hashem, you should finish Lamdeni Chukecha, and then go back and say Yalav Yavai. And what about L'inyan Talumatar? That if you forgot to mention it, and you finished Berchas Hashanim, you should not stick in Talumatar, because you could say it in Shoymei Tefillah. Now, what if, here's my question, what if you finished and you said Baruch Atah Hashem Shoymei Tefillah? Could you stick in there V'sein Talumatar L'Bracha? What would you say? Based on what we learned, could you stick in there V'sein Talumatar L'Bracha? L'chayra, you could, because you have to go back if you don't say it, and therefore you could inject it at that point. That's my guess. We didn't point that out yesterday, but I was thinking of it earlier. Also, I just want to, we had a chidush that the din that you could inject Masha Baruch Hashem l'chayra would not apply Friday night, because we said Friday night if you forgot Masha Baruch Hashem, you do not go back. Unless you say, you only don't go back misafek, but maybe misafek you do go back. So l'chayra then maybe you would say it. In other words, it's not that you don't go back if you it's a safek whether you go back. So basically safek brachas lahakel. But l'chayra you would apply it the other way, that I might have to go back if I miss Masha Baruch Hashem. Why not stick it in here? Today I'm more noted to say that Friday night you would stick it in, because it's not that you definitively don't go back. Rabbi Kiveger left it off as a tzarchian. So on Friday night you don't have a right to daven again, but I have a right to stick in Masha Baruch Hashem at the end of Mechayeh HaMesim. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Okay, let's go weiter. Mishnah Berurah Sivkatan Lamed Gimel Harishaynos Nakat Harishaynos Mishum Da'ayri Bahu. It picked the earlier ones because we're talking about it. That's why the Ramah says the first three brachas are like one. V'hu Hadin Shalosh Achronos, the same thing would be the last three. V'atam Dashos Rishonos Inyanim Echad. The reason is because the first three brachas are one inyan Lasader Shivcha Shamakim Koidem She'elas Trachav, to be Masader, the Shevach of Hashem before you ask for your needs. Ke'eved Shemasader Shevach Lifnei Rabbi, like a Eved who arranges praise before his master, Koidem Shemavakesh Pras Mimenu, before he asks for his prize. V'shal Shachronis Hin Ke'eved Shekibel Pras Me Rabbi. The last three like an Eved who is Makabel Pras Me'Rabbi Shemeshabche V'Hoylech Loi, that he praises him and he goes. So anytime you make a mistake in the first three, you go back to the beginning. That's only if you make a mistake in the chasima. Let's say you finished one bracha with another bracha's conclusion. Let's say you said Hakel HaKadosh, and you didn't remember until Achar Kedei Dibor. She efshar lo shuv l'sakin to usay. She'en chazara moyelas elatuch kedei dibor. So that's very interesting. Let's say a person said Baruch Ato Hashem Hakel HaKadosh, da 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 da, and then he realized he forgot it. Could he stick in right there Bein Habrachos Hamelach HaKadosh? No way. Why? But he didn't start the next bracha yet. You could stick in Masharuch Marag Hashem after Kedei Dibor. Why can't you stick in Hamelach HaKadosh after Kedei Dibor?
You finished the bracha wrong.
You said the wrong thing. So when you say the wrong thing, you have to be oiker it. To be oiker it, you can only do it to Kedei Dibor. But if you just don't say something, you don't have to be oiker it, you just have to say it. You just have to say it. So, therefore, you have a bigger time. Meaning, let's just clarify that. When you omit something, then you have to say it. You could say it as long as you're still within the time frame, which is you didn't start the next bracha. If you said the wrong thing, then there's no way to fix it. We did have, I don't have my dirshu on me right now. We had a machlokes whether when you say the wrong thing, if you, let's say you said v'sein talamat levracha in the summer, could you correct it la'achar kedei dibor, or you're done? Now what? Let's say you said v'sein talamat levracha, and it's after kedei dibor. What do you do now? You go back to the beginning of the bracha, or could you go back to the es kol minei tzvasot v'sein bracha? There you also said the wrong thing. But here we're seeing that if you finished the bracha, if you said Hakel HaKadosh, you can't go back to the beginning. Any other similar mistake that if it would happen elsewhere, you'd go back to the beginning of the bracha. So the first three and the last three, you go back to the beginning. The chashuba is kachada, is considered like one. But if you made a mistake in the middle, ein ma'akev. And it's not ma'akev, ayin le'el b'siman samaches, siv katan aleph, mishabruah, shebayarnu sham, ba'arichos. Siv zayin. B'chol makam shanu oimrim choyzer lebracha shataba. Any time that we say, go back to the bracha that you made a mistake, hani mili shataba shagi. That's only if you made a mistake b'shagi. Ava b'mezid u'maskabein choyzer l'rosh. If you intentionally did it, you have to go back to the beginning. You go back to the beginning. So the din that if you make a mistake in a bracha, what would that mean? You made a mistake in the bracha. You said Rifa'inu and heal and save the whales. Rifa'inu Hashem and save the whales. Baruch Atah Hashem Hamatzil Kol Degei Hayam. And then he realized, so the halacha is you have to go back to that bracha. But if you did it b'mezid, then you have to go back to the beginning of Shema Esrei. So the Bir Halacha says this is a stira. Because in Siman Kuf Daled, Sif Vav, we say that if you talked, then if you talk during Shema Esrei, Hada Amrinan, Imsha, Kedei Ligmaras Kula, Ba'kari Misharinan, Imsach Batfila, Hada Amrinan Imsha Kedei Ligmaras Ba'kari Misharinan. this that we say if you delay the amount of time to finish the whole thing, it depends on the individual reader. Im sach bat tefillah, let's say you talk by davening, then dinoi le'inyan chazar k'den hafsakos ha'amurais b'siman zeh. That if you talk in the middle of a bracha, even if it's not k'dei ligmar that bracha, you have to go back to the beginning of the bracha. And if it's k'dei ligmar kol hatfila, you have to go back to the beginning of the bracha. But if sach b'mezid, it's a tzarchi and gadol. Some say you go back to the beginning of the you go back to the beginning of the tefillah afilu sichamu ates, and some say there's no difference between shoygeg and mezid. So what's the stira? The Bir Halacha says ayin le'elsim kovdal tzevav le'inyan sicha del cheres soisel hachdahacha, and the Achronim try to answer it. The Gra is mashma that according to the Rashba, there's no difference between shogeg and mezid. Meaning, here the Mechaber is saying there's no difference between shogeg and mezid if you make an intentional mistake. But we know by shmoozing, by talking, there is a difference between shogeg and mezid. By mezid, you might have to go back to the beginning of the tefillah, and by shogeg, you don't necessarily. That's the stira. Here, the stira in Siman Kuf Yud Daled Siv Zayin, we are mechalek between. We are not mechalek. We are mechalek between shogeg and mezid, and in Siman Kuf Daled, I guess the mechaber is not mechalek. In Siman Kuf Daled Siv Vav, the mechaber is not mechalik between shogeg and mezid, and here he is. Even though, by the way, the achronim are mechalik over there also. Okay, so the apparent contradiction is that by the law, if you make an intentional mistake by davening, we say that's different than a mistake b'shogeg, but by talking, we don't differentiate. So the Bir Halacha says, well, some achronim hold that we'll differentiate by talking also. And the ikar is like the Mechaber says over here, that there's a chiluk between shogeg and mezid. We'll do a little bit more. Sivches, b'yemois hachama, in the rainy season, in the stopik in hiskar marad hagashem life, you're mesupik whether you mention mashrach marad hagashem ad shloshim yam b'cheska shizkar hagashem b'tzarach lachzar. For 30 days, you're presumed to have said it incorrectly, and you said rain. In other words, if in the summer you're mesupik, you said mashrach marad hagashem, so for 30 days we assume you said it, and you have to go back, even though you have no recollection of whether you said it or not. Says the Mishnah Berurah, b'mois hachama mishum deragil b'mei hacharef lamer mashrach marad hagashem. You're habitual during the winter to say mashrach marad hagashem. Al kein estapik. Now you're in doubt. Ulay amar achshav gam kein hachi. Maybe that's what you did now also. V'loy amar marad hatol k'shar bnei adam, and you didn't say marad hatol like everyone else. Why did the Mechaber talk about this case where someone is not sure if they may have accidentally said mashrach marad hagashem in the summer? Why didn't he say somebody might have accidentally said marad hatol in the winter? The answer is because if you said marad hatol in the winter, but that's okay. And the Mechaber is l'shitase. The Mechaber holds that you say marad hatol in the summer. The Mechaber is of the, and therefore, if in the winter you may have said marad hatol, that's okay. Aval hepach lo'imatzeh mechaber laminka. Dainu shenastabik lo b'mois hagashamim, that you're mesupik if in the raising season im hizkar gashem. Da mechaber ayri leminik sfarad. The mechaber is going according to minik sfarad. Shenoagin loimer b'mois hachamim marad hatol, that they say marad hatol in the summer. V'yatzav b'zeh afilu b'mois hagasham v'chanab b'sefhei. So therefore, the mechaber only has a case of if somebody is mesupik in the summer, maybe they said rain. Rain's a problem in the summer. Dew is a good replacement in the winter. So now the Rama comes, Hagav, Adin Ladidan. The same thing would be for us. The Ein Maskir and Tabi Masachama. We don't mention the dew in the summer. So if you're mistapik in the winter, if you're stopping in the rainy season, did I say rain? Then kol shalishim yom chaz, you have to go back within 30 days. Because he definitely said what he habitually says, which would be he didn't say tal, he didn't say geshem, and after 30 days, he doesn't go back. Continuing in the Mishnah Brura, you could have the same suffix in the rainy season. We'll hold over here, Rabbi Isai. Have a great day, and we'll see everybody again Thursday.
I can actually understand the point of the Mechaber. If in the winter you don't remember what you said, it doesn't matter because if you say Ma'aser and Tal in the winter, there's nothing wrong.
Right. Right. So we learned earlier that b'diavad tal in Sif Hey, the Mechaber said in his tal in machzir noisai. By the way, that means, let's say you said Moed Hatal and you remembered before you said Baruch Atah Hashem, then you will say Mashrach Amar Hashem. It's only once you said Hashem's name, you won't go back for it. Yeah? Shkach to you.
The whole Chazaka 30 day sugya here, is that discussed over here?
Yeah.
Shai was discussing something. What if you started saying your 90 times and then in the middle, Shemona Esrei said the wrong way? So then, do you lose one? Do you have to? How does that work?
Does it have to be consecutive? You mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I was wondering, like a bunch of different iterations of Shiloh up with your 90 times.
Isn't the whole point of 90 times to get you used to saying it? If you know you said it wrong, bad, you have to say it. What do you mean?
No, he's asking. Let's say.
I don't know.
No. Let's say he made a mistake. He said it 50 times. Then in a Shemona Esrei he said the wrong thing, and then he said another 40 times. Does that disrupt the chazaka you're asking?
Or if I said it 90 times, three of those times I said the wrong one. So then I would have to say 93, obviously. But yeah, does it ruin the chazaka? How does the chazaka work exactly?
I don't think so. I don't think it ruins the chazaka.
On Thursday, we'll see. On Thursday.
Yeah? Okay.
All right, that's fair.
Shkayach.